Okay, welcome back to the United Pubcast, the podcast of the Man United Supporters Club here in Sydney, or if you're obviously tuned in, then maybe the Real Madrid Supporters Club. Larry, talk to me.
Well, Tom, I've literally spent a good 5 minutes explaining you the backstory behind this shirt.
Tell the
But
listeners that the listeners need an explanation.
I won't bore our listeners with it. If you want to call me a Real Madrid fan, you can. I'm definitely not that, and anyone who knows how much I despise Real Madrid. But look, let's leave it. It can be whatever story you like. If you want to call me a plastic, call me a plastic. If you want to call me a Ronaldo supporter, call me a Ronaldo supporter. But let's talk about Manchester United because that's what we're here for.
Yeah, feel free to get your personal insults and thoughts in towards Larry in the live chat. But a few guys in the chat already. Good to see you. Evening, lads. To Josh, hopefully pull our finger out Tuesday morning. Yeah, Tuesday morning. So it's a Monday night game over in England. So the FA Cup draw for the fourth round will be out. So we'll know our potential opponents if we do get through Villa. We'll know our potential opponents because it is a kick-off match from the Supporters Club. Good to see you. And Mad, as always, Maddie said nothing will bring me more pleasure than giving it to Slippy G on Tuesday morning, which is part of the discussion. I think he's part of this narrative, him and obviously Phil Coutinho. Coutinho, we'll have to discuss his situation, and Jamie over from Northern Ireland. Good to see you, mate. And yeah, Ahmad's obviously thinking he's on the wrong channel with the Real Madrid show. But another weird one, this one, because Steven Gerrard, Philip Coutinho, we'll get into that. But before we get into the football, Larry, it's been a weird week. There's it feels like 2 weeks ago we played Wolves. It wasn't that long ago we lost to Wolves. It was less than a week ago, but it does feel a few days ago now. There's been a little bit of a outfall from it. We obviously had John Silk on during the week and we talked about dressing room leaks and how that comes about and what it means, etc., and the sort of legitimacy of those reports type thing, and if we believe them or if we don't believe them. One or two players have come out. Fred, Harry Maguire have spoken out. One or two leaks of Cristiano Ronaldo has come out and said he's happy type thing. Just what have you made of the last couple of days in regards to how this news is sort of unfolding? Because it's not good news, no matter whatever spin a fan or a journalist or a player tries to put on it. At the end of the day, we have agreed that where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, it is an interesting one, Tom, and you have to say that. I mean, look, Luke Shaw's comments, I think, laid it bare for us all to see that it's an unsettled dressing room at the moment at Manchester United. And look, I think Fred's comments are almost interesting. I almost had to have a bit of a laugh when I saw Fred tweeting about his potential future. With all due respect to the Brazilian, I don't think anyone had any qualms around Fred being the player who wanted to leave Manchester United onto greener pastures. But all jokes aside, I think it's just, like I said on here with John Silk the other night, I think once United, should we go on a run and get some positive results, all these unsettling comments will eventually evaporate, I think.
What do you think of, obviously, everyone's favourite player at the moment, Harry Maguire? I just want to get your thoughts on him at the moment in regards to, it's a weird one. I don't want this to be a discussion about his captaincy or should he be picked or is he fit for the weekend. Just in regards to what came out days before, everyone's saying, where's Harry Maguire? Why isn't he putting out a statement? Why isn't he talking? He's the captain. He should be leading. He comes out and makes a statement in regards to, okay, the players need to take the blame. This is on us. We need to work hard. It's a textbook standard sort of answer. And then everyone who's calling for him to say something is saying, what the hell is our captain talking for? He needs to show the performances on the pitch. And that obviously is right. But what do we want from the captain? Do we want him to make a statement or do we not want him to make a statement? Obviously, we prefer the statement on the pitch. But in regards to the words, I don't know why people got so emotional about it. Was that just a sign of social media, or was there something wrong with his words? And that's not me defending Harry Maguire at all. It's just
I agree with you, Tom, and I'm not the biggest Harry Maguire fan. But in saying that, I have no issue with what he said. In fact, I have to praise him. I did tweet about this, and I said, I don't like him as a captain. I think there's a lot of flaws in him. But in saying that, what he said was bold. And what he said was brave. And he's basically now in a position where he has to put his money where his mouth is. He said, I'm sick of saying it, but we need to go on a run and it starts Monday. Well, if he now puts in a subpar performance, should he play, or United get a poor result from that game, his performance will be highly scrutinized either way. So you have to say he's put his hand up. He's put the limelight on himself, which, to be fair, I want that from my captain when the players are under pressure. So if he can put in a big performance, he'll make all of us eat our words. Now, whether he does that or not, it's to be seen. But no issue with what he said. If anything, it's the first bit of leadership he's shown in months. So I'm going to put it here. Kudos to Harry Maguire on the statement.
Or Matt here saying apology FC, Harry Maguire, and a Mad saying a captain yes from this cap. Tom from a captain yes from this captain would like to step him down and out. That's my opinion. That's the thing. Just in regards to this, I don't know why he's getting death threats and abuse for just saying exactly what's right. Okay, the players are to blame. It's our fault. We need to be better. Yes, would prefer him to make that statement on the pitch, of course, but I don't think the over-the-top outrage over a simple paragraph was needed. I think, okay, he said what he said. He's saying exactly what we're saying. We're not giving fans abuse for saying the obvious, but we're giving Harry Maguire sort of abuse for saying the obvious. And it's one of those things. He does need to put it right on the pitch, but I just don't understand the outrage in regards to a few words on a page. We praise Fred, we praise Bruno Fernandes for saying the exact same thing. Harry Maguire is it's a weird one. Maybe I'm a little bit old school, but speaking of old school, Larry, before we get into Harry Maguire and if he actually is going to play, because there's a very good chance that he's not going to be playing. Maybe he picked up an injury or two, or could Ralph Rangnick actually be dropping him? But speaking of old school, FA Cup, for me, I love it. I still love it. It's still, post Fergie, still giving us the best moment, in my opinion. The Jesse Lingard winner at Wembley that trumps the Europa League final for me. I still think that's a huge moment. I love the FA Cup. I think if the final was done correctly, like it used to be in the 80s and 90s sort of thing, and they followed the teams round from breakfast, I think the FA Cup final would still be the biggest day in the English calendar. I don't know why they don't do it. I think it's especially in the modern day with social media and sort of the need for information. Imagine following around a team sort of around London sort of thing on the day. I still think it's a moneymaker there, but for some reason they don't do it. I don't know if it's because the FA Cup, the semi-finals have moved to Wembley or not. But in my opinion, I know it has lost some of its stature. I understand that and respect that. But for me, the FA Cup's still massive. But we're going to get into this, and should he rotate? Should he not rotate? And I've seen a little bit of your starting 11, and there are a few changes type things. So just before we get into that, the FA Cup, what is it to you? Like, is it important? Like, obviously you do want to win a trophy, but are you going to lose any sleep if we do get knocked out at some stage?
No, I think it is important. I think for this United side, and I think this is where people need to really focus on what's important here. Top four, I think that's the thing. I'm not sure if the FA Cup's lost its starshine or its appeal. I think that there's been such an emphasis, and rightly or wrongly so, on finishing top four, on finishing and making the Champions League and making the knockout stages. And I think the Champions League has become so valuable in terms of monetary value that because of that, it's been given such importance. We saw with Louis van Gaal, Tom. He finished fifth. He won the FA Cup and he lost his job on the next day. So it just shows you if we've got owners who value finishing fourth in the Champions League as a success rather than securing a trophy in the FA Cup, well, what sort of platform and idea does that set for fans? And I think that's probably where the difficulty has come. But personally, look, I love the FA Cup. But the reality is, if you win the FA Cup and you finish sixth, I don't think that's going to attract an Erling Haaland to Manchester United. That's just the sad reality of it. Personally, as a fan, though, I hope United go on to win the trophy. I think it'd be fantastic. And it's a competition I personally love and respect the history of. The one I don't care about is the Carabao Cup. Now, that's one where I think if you were going to scrap a competition, that's the one that you could probably let go by the wayside.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, Ralph Frank has spoken about that in regards to that. But this is a debate for another day. This is a far bigger issue, and I understand this is not the perfect answer. But is there a situation if you did want to put a little bit more value in the FA Cup? You look at the Champions League at the moment, we have 4 teams. So if you finish fourth, you go into this Champions League. Is there a case you just make 3 teams go in the Champions League and fourth spot is up to the winner of the FA Cup?
Good luck negotiating that with the English Premier League sides.
Well, obviously the big clubs won't allow that, and it would never happen. But I think that would give sort of a far greater for an Aston Villa, for a Southampton, for an Everton, I don't know who's Arsenal haven't been in the Champions League, God knows how long type thing, and they do love an FA Cup win type thing. So I think that would add a lot more of an incentive for those clubs, and even the big clubs, because you can, as I said, you can have a good season as a big club and not finish in the top 4. Well, there's that many good teams this season, sort of thing. So Matt just puts in here, and before we get into our starting 11s, where did he put in here? Sorry. In regards to Aston Villa, are we the favourites against Aston Villa? Because it seems like a lifetime ago, Aston Villa have beaten us at Old Trafford already this season, the game where Bruno Fernandes skied his penalty. Less said about that, the better. But just on Aston Villa, they worry me. They worry me for 2 reasons. First of all, the Philip Coutinho one looks like, at the moment, I haven't read too much about it, but it looks like he probably won't be ready for this one. But obviously Aston Villa is our next Premier League game, so you assume he'll be fit for that game. But it looks like Philip Coutinho will miss this one, fingers crossed. Steven Gerrard. I'm worried about this. I'm not saying he's a good manager or bad manager or whatever. I just don't like the idea of Steven Gerrard managing at Old Trafford. It just has, you can see what's going to happen. You can, I can see. I'm not confident at all. I'm confident with beating Aston Villa. I'm not confident with our team up against Steven Gerrard. I just have a bad feeling. Do you share it, or am I overcomplicating things?
No, I hear. And there is every reality that United could get knocked out of the cup. And I think, given the Liverpool links with Steven Gerrard, with Felipe Coutinho, it would leave a sour taste. And I hate to say this, 30 odd days into his tenure, if Ralph Rangnick gets knocked out in the third round of the FA Cup, oh my gosh, the media will have a field day with it. So it would be a nightmare for United. I think this game is of exponential importance, and not just in terms of proceeding in the cup, just to change the mood around the place. I just really think they need to get a result on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you obviously we do want to win the trophy, of course, but how important, like obviously top four is so vitally important to the club, and that sort of trickles down to the manager and the players in their futures. They need top four, they need Champions League football. How important is the trophy? Because we came so close. We came a penalty kick away from doing it under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and if that happens, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is probably still in the job now. It's a weird situation how football does work, but how important is a trophy? Because we had this debate a couple of months ago, and it didn't work in Gdansk over there in that penalty shootout. And we don't have this answer. If we win this game against Aston Villa, it doesn't say we're going to win a trophy. Obviously, the FA Cup's not decided until the last day of the season type thing. But we need a trophy now because when was it? The Europa League's the last one. So we just need a trophy. I love the FA Cup. And as I said, post-Fergie, it's given us our best moment, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it is important. I've said this now for however long we've been going. These group of players don't know what it is to win. A lot of them don't know what it is to lift a trophy with their football club. I know there's been some success at an international level, but a lot of these players haven't lifted a trophy since the FA Cup victory back in, what was that, 2016, I want to say. So it's been a long time between drinks for United, and, too long. I mean, yes, I know the Europa League was probably the last trophy we won, and even that's 2017. So a lot of these players haven't won a trophy with Manchester United. And I think in order to take that next stage, and even let's look at Liverpool, they found more success in the Champions League before they go on to win the Premier League. So, it's one of those where I think if you can win a trophy, whatever trophy it is, it breeds a winning habit. And I think a lot of these players need to get over their egos and put something down and go all out to win this one. Because, like I said, winning is a habit. And once you get one trophy, you get that taste for it. It will push you on in other competitions. And so I'd like to see us secure it. And of course, it's important. I think in terms of the dynamic going into the next season, whether Ralph Rangnick is around or not, and just for these players. The reality is a lot of these guys are playing for their futures, Tom. So it'll serve them well to actually, prove they're winners rather than sulking and leaking things out into the media.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Forget the trophy, forget season, forget top four, forget Champions League hopes. We just need a win, as you say, just to get things back on track and just get a smile going, because we have Aston Villa a couple of days later at Villa Park. So it is a big week for United, but we'll get into starting 11s. And if you're in the live chat, please do remember to like the video. That would be great. And let us know who you think should be starting, because whenever we have a cup game, the start 11, there's obviously always going to be changes. So it's very interesting. Sometimes the Premier League game sort of picks itself, but it's always good to have a chat about starting 11s in these cup games, because it does throw one or two curveballs. So I'll throw yours up here, Larry, and you can talk to me in regards to, is this what you're expecting? Is this what you want? Is it a little bit of mix of both? And just talk us through it, because there's a few interesting ones there, I must say.
Yeah, look, I'm putting 4-2-2 in the 4 straight to the bin. I think if Ralph Rangnick's going to show anything, he needs to start playing to the strengths of the players he has. Like I said the other day, you can't loosen a screw with a hammer. So Ralph Rangnick needs to stop playing 4-2-2 with inverted playmakers that he simply doesn't have. I'm going back to the 4-2-3-1. And look, I don't like the McFred combination. I think that's what he'll go with, purely out of rotation. Matic has played the last 2 games. Fred's been sat out for 2.5 games, so I think Fred comes in. I think Tellez and Delo, I've just gone for rotation there. Same thing with Tom Heaton. I think Henderson will probably want to leave. So I think you'll see the Englishman get his first full start for United.
You don't
Phil
think
Jones and Lindelof, I think they come in. Now, I know Harry Maguire's made his comments. He could easily be in there. I'm thinking purely rotation with one eye on the Premier League fixture with Aston Villa. I don't think Varane will play in this one after playing back-to-back. So, again, just my opinion there. Look, like I said, I've gone Rashford and Sancho in the wide areas, assuming we're going 4-2-3-1. And I'm putting Ronaldo out. I want to see Mason given a go up front. I think he's been one of our most lively players. He's been unfairly, in my opinion, taken off early when other players definitely deserve to have been hooked. So I'm giving Mason a full 90 minutes in his preferred position, and let's see what he can do.
Well, Matt's saying here that lineup is bang on, but Maguire will partner Jones. And just on Phil Jones, it's an interesting one because on the back of his performance against Wolves, he deserves to play 100%. I'm not dropping Jones in regards to that, but I think people need to calm down a little bit. Phil Jones is still Phil Jones. He's not the answer. He's someone over the last 7 or 8 years we've screamed to get out of the club because he's not good enough. A decent performance against Wolves. So, and I'm definitely, there's an argument, and I agree with you, sort of including him in the team, but everyone's saying him over Maguire type thing. Short term, yes, I'm saying that.
I don't agree with that. If Maguire is fit, I'd actually be playing him. I've done this purely because I think RANGNICK is looking to play Maguire in the Premier League. And I think just look, Bay's out. Varane won't play 3 games in the space of 2 weeks. So I think he needs to be managed. So that's why I'm going Phil Jones here. So, look, I could be wrong. It could very well be Maguire, but just what I suspect.
And Matt here on, I think Harry Maguire's upset him tonight. I think he's still on a little bit. I'm not talking about Harry Maguire. I'm talking about Phil Jones not being the answer. Look, going forward, not the answer, Tom, but give him another game. I think if he's fit, but that's the thing. It's his first game in 2 years. I don't think playing him back-to-back, I think he's asking to get sort of stretched off in the warm-up if we ask him to play 90 minutes again. So I think we do need to be calm on Phil Jones. Yes, if he's fit, you can keep him in and around in case of an emergency. But Lindelof's back. I think Lindelof needs minutes. If Harry Maguire's fit, he needs to. I know people hate it, but he needs to play himself into form because he's not going to be sold in January. So we can't just sort of just keep him around and then throw him into a must-win game when he's completely out of form. You do need to play him.
Can I play devil's advocate with you? You say play him in a form, but how do you play him in a form and play a high line? I just don't see those two things correlating. So, like from that side, that's where I have to put my hand up and say, I don't know if we can play him in a form. We just don't.
You can play a high line. I don't agree that you can't play him in a high line. That's if you got someone sweeping him behind. Harry Maguire can be the first defender, and
Lindelof's not that guy. We know he's not the quickest either. That's what I'm saying. I think.
I'll be playing not in this game, but long term Maguire and Varane. And yes, if you can upgrade on Varane on Harry Maguire in a transfer window, go do that. But at the moment, Maguire and Varane, I think that partnership can work. No one was complaining when we kept 2 clean sheets in the first games type thing with Harry Maguire playing a high line. Like no one was complaining then. And again, this is not a defensive of Harry Maguire. Just the over-the-top criticism is silly, in my opinion, and it's just born out of frustration because people don't like him. If you look at the facts, that's quite not the case. My only other but Tom Heaton. Dean Henderson's playing.
I don't think he does, mate. He wants to leave. It's common knowledge. And we've seen the way Martial's been frozen out of the side, so why does Henderson play?
Yep. Is there a case of, look, I'm playing David De Gea, but is there a case of just keeping him in the shop window and get a performance under his belt to remind clubs?
Potentially, but Ralph Rangnick's not in a position for that, to be honest. I think he needs to win this game, and if you've got players who are thinking about playing football elsewhere, I don't think he can afford to do that. So that's why I'm going Heaton. Look, I think Henderson's the better goalkeeper, and I think if there was a manager who wanted to play a goalkeeper who's more of a ball player, or a playmaker, then I think there is an argument where you could say, while I wouldn't agree with it, I think you could then say there is an argument to even start Henderson over De Gea. But in saying that, that's not the case at the moment. And for that reason, I'm saying no to Henderson starting.
Well, I've said no as well, and but I haven't gone Tom Heaton. I've gone David De Gea. It's a must-win game for me. And there is a little bit of rotation, but it's still must-win. So I've gone David De Gea.
So you've gone 4-2-3-1 as well. So are you with me in the 4-2-2 just simply needs to go?
I think that can very well change. Push Bruno up front, or push Bruno out to where Greenwood is, and Greenwood up front with Ronaldo, and suddenly that's a 4-2-2. So there's a very good chance it will be 4-2-2 or 4-4-2, whatever way you look at it. I would like to think the game will pan out where Bruno drops a little bit deeper, Greenwood drifts a bit wider, Sancho drifts a bit wider, and you do have your sort of focal point up front with Ronaldo. How it plays out, again, this is more hope than sort of thinking with my head, I think there's a good chance Ralph Rangnick will go 4-2-2, but this is what I would be lined up. McTominay and Fred, I think Fred comes back in. You need, obviously, energy in midfield. Look, I understand the issue with Varane's fitness. You do have to manage him, but I think the only other player you can manage it, you do have to, obviously, is Phil Jones. So we have to manage Phil Jones as well. I think in a must-win game, I'd much prefer Rafael Varane there. Lindelof comes back in the team if fit. Fullbacks, back to Tellez and Delo, and that's not, well, obviously Aaron Wan-Bissaka was woeful, but not so much a drop-in of Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw. I just think these are the two better fullbacks at the moment, and they deserve to be playing. I know Luke Shaw had to a decent performance against Burnley type thing, but Tellez and Delo come in. Obviously, I think there was a bit of a long bow in regards to the stretch where Ronaldo had a photo of Tellez and Delo, and that was in the midst of these dressing room leaks and the sort of the memes and narrative, and I even saw one report from the Telegraph or something saying Ronaldo has chosen his fullbacks just because he had a photo with Tellez and Delo. But you never know how influential. I know it's stupid, but that was from a reliable outlet sort of thing. But and Bruno, he needs to come back in the team because when he's coming off the bench, he's impacting games. Maybe not well enough, and he could do more sometimes when he comes off the bench. But he needs to start. It's a must-win game, and I want to be seeing Bruno Fernandes play. But do you have any real issues with that one?
No, I like your side. I think there's a case that Lenga could play. Definitely, he's been brought in sort of out of the blue, and all reports are he's impressed in training, and that's why he's in there. I need to see Bruno deployed centrally, and that's the one thing. Like I like Ralph Rangnick. I like how refreshing his press conferences are. I like how honest he is, and clearly a very intelligent guy. But he needs to be able to get the best out of his best players. And I don't think he's been doing that at the moment. So I just want to see Bruno deployed in a central position where he can use or utilize his strengths. So fingers crossed he listens to us two geniuses, Tom, and deploys Bruno back in the 10 where he belongs.
Well, Josh saying here, at least if we lose, though, with those lineups, we'd be spared the Luke Shaw morbid funeral post-match interview. And Ahmad saying he needs to shave and bring back the Luke Shaw shuffle.
On it tonight. What? Who upset you? Seriously.
And Matt saying sign Rudiger before Tuesday. The Rudiger situation is very interesting. My money would suggest it, so I'm not Man United. He's not going to be Man United bound. I guess a stab in the dark would be Real Madrid or a club like that, but you never know.
That's why the shirt's on. Yeah.
Who knows? Look, if Thomas Tuchel, if Ralph Rangnick thinks Thomas Tuchel is Chelsea, Man United bound in 6 months' time, and Tuchel has a word with Rudiger, you never know that could line up in a red shirt in a couple of months' time. But it'll be interesting because I'm still putting a little bit of weight behind that Thomas Tuchel story, or not story, but idea. Is that any more thoughts about that in regards to? In my opinion, I don't care what Chelsea do unless they win the Champions. They're not going to win the league. City are going to run away with it unless Chelsea win the Champions League. Tuchel gets sacked. Fact.
If I was a betting man today, and look, this could change, of course. If I was a betting man today, I think Pochettino will be United's next manager.
Yeah, no, well, there are sort of one of them. Look, there's always reports. Who knows which ones to believe? But there are one or two maybe sort of a little bit more reliable reports and a little bit more concrete information suggesting Pochettino is the favoured candidate. But again, the favoured candidate for who? Woodward and Arnold or Ralph Rangnick? I'm just not quite sure.
I don't think Ralph Rangnick will be at Manchester United. That's just my personal opinion. That's my hunch. Look, I obviously don't know anything. But if you're asking me today, I think you'll see Pochettino come in, and I think Ralph Rangnick will be an advisor, whatever that means.
Yeah. Yeah, no, scary. Well, look, we didn't even touch on it, but obviously we do have a new CEO, Richard Arnold. I don't think we'll touch on it today. Maybe another video for another day, but big news, which we all knew was coming. But when you obviously see it officially announced, it's sort of you think, oh, hang on. That's sort of real life now. So yeah, definitely a debate for another day, but that pretty much wraps it up for this match preview. We've obviously got another Aston Villa preview in a couple of days' time after this FA Cup game. As I said, whenever we have an FA Cup game, always our next Premier League game is against that opposition, and I'm sure that'll happen in the fourth round. Fingers crossed we'll get into the fourth round. Obviously, we do have the hurdle of Aston Villa, but just one more here from Matt with a few betting odds. Podger's paying $2.50 or $3.50 to be the next manager. Look, the money would suggest Pochettino is the safe bet, but look, football can change very quickly. Ralph Rangnick goes on this run and wins an FA Cup. We'll all be wanting Ralph Rangnick to stay in charge. So hopefully everyone did enjoy the preview, and obviously football is back in a few days. Obviously Tuesday morning kickoff for us here in Sydney. Not a bad kickoff time, but I think it's better than the League Cup. The league game is on a 4:30 on a Sunday morning, I think. So definitely one to take advantage of. It's obviously on free-to-air TV. here in Sydney, which is good for the FA Cup this season. But Larry, always a pleasure, mate. Hopefully everyone in the chat did enjoy that. Please leave a like on the video before you leave. And if you are new, if you could subscribe, that would be fantastic. And Larry, we'll chat to you on Tuesday night discussing either progression or, I don't know, what are we discussing if we lose? Because that's got to be a nightmare.
I don't know. Something really depressing.
Definitely. Fingers crossed we are discussing fourth round opponents, but fingers crossed, and we'll chat to you all on Tuesday night. Cheers.